at the Freedom Mausoleum, and if you make a left, come down this little corridor, there's the Sanctuary of Affection, and you come down this little pathway, you get to come and pass through the archway, with permission of course, and come into the area that Walt is buried along with his wife. Hey, Michigan Gems. His wife Lillian. They're all buried right here. And there's a little bench. And it is not open to the public. So it's a little treat. The little statue is very peaceful and very beautiful. So it's something I like to come and see. And a little tidbit is, I'm going to go ahead and close this. If you keep going into the Freedom Mausoleum, which we will not do, because I don't want to film in there and disturb anybody, which you're technically not allowed to film in there. You're actually not allowed to film at any of the mausoleums in Forest Lawn. But if you go in there, you will find the grave or the resting place of one of the three Stooges. And the reason I find relevance to this is because Fluff has a video coming out soon where he visits all of the three Stooges. So there's a Fluff right there. Say hi to everybody, Fluff. We went to go visit Uncle Walt real quick. The bird. We missed the bird. But what I tell people is Forest Lawn in Glendale is one of the biggest fucking cemeteries you will ever see. Pardon my language, but it really truly is. It is like the size of a small city. It's huge. And this is where all the stars are buried. Well, not all of them. There's another smaller cemetery where you'll find like Marilyn Monroe and stuff like that. She's not buried here. Some people say she is. She is not. She's buried in another one that's more downtown. And what else was I gonna say? Who's buried also here? Clark Gable. I got to go see Clark Gable. We went and we visited Michael. And a lot of people misconstrue where Michael's located inside of Holy Terrace. They always think that he's by that entrance that says Holy Terrace, and he is not. He's all the way further in the back, adjacent to the main entrance. But like I said, we won't film inside the mausoleums because number one, I cannot film inside the mausoleums. I don't need that getting back to my boss. So that was my shoe. Don't mind me. But this is just one of the sections of the cemetery's many gardens. And it is massive. Like most cemeteries are only yay big. And this one is very huge. Like you can get lost in here. Look at the beautiful hillsides of Los Angeles. Hello. I'm just doing this off my phone instead of my gimbal. I'm sorry if it's shaky. It is very beautiful and it is very well kept here. I was gonna do a live on location, like a live reading on location, but I'm a little tired. I went and had a physical done today with all kinds of blood work and everything, and then I had to go do a strength test to see how much I can bench and how much I can push and pull weight-wise. I can bench without physical strain to my muscles, meaning like where you would hurt yourself, 290 pounds. I was really proud of myself. So she'd be tall, or she'd be short, but she'd be mighty. I can push 330 pounds, but I can only pull towards me, and it's because of my wrists. Was it 190 safely? I can do more, but it would be outside of the realm of what would be safe, meaning I start distorting my form and all that. So I'm trying not to film my car. Nobody needs to see my license plate. Yes, I can bench 290 pounds. I lift dead bodies for a living, so I can lift without distorting my form and without causing injury to my muscles, severe injury to my muscles. But here's the back section of that mausoleum. You guys want to go for a little drive around and see how huge this place is? Because I was going to do a tarot reading, but I am really tired. So, like, I just ate. So I'm like, ooh, I'm tired. But let's go for a drive. Let's show you guys how massive Forest Lawn really is. And don't mind the inside of my car. Yeah. Same thing with like EMTs. They have to go through lift tests and everything too. So, what? I sat on something, didn't I? Well, why do you have stuff on my seat, you guys?
It was just fries.
Weirdos. So I'll pass you over to Fluff for safety, and we'll go on a ride. Put your seatbelt on. And we will show you Forest Lawn. Well, some of it, not all of it. We will be able to show you some of it. Might want to plug the phone in because she'd be wanting to die. The phone, that is. Okay. So, who's buried here? Paul Walker is buried here. Like I said, Clark Gable's buried. Oh, there is a ton. Elizabeth Taylor's buried here. She's actually in the same mausoleum as Michael is. And she's in a public area, so if you came, you could see her without issue. Michael just so happens to be in a restricted area, and most people don't realize the reason he's in such a high guarded area is because he has people that don't fully respect him. Okay, we'll call it like that. His life choices, or I told you to put your seatbelt on so we didn't have to hear all that music. And things about his reputation, whether they be true or not, that's not my place. I'm not God. I don't know what really happened. I watch the court stuff just the same as everybody else. But there are people that really have vengeance, if you will. They have some anger issues regarding this individual because of the nature of the allegations. So because of that, and because of the profile of this cemetery, they do, we're going to make a nice little loop right here. They do guard it so that the integrity of not only his grave, but those around him and things like that are met with respect. And nobody wants to see, if you've ever seen a famous grave of somebody that wasn't conventionally liked, I'll give the example of like G.G. Allin. If you're familiar with who G.G. Allin is, he was a, dare I say, punk rocker that was very hardcore, we'll go with that. And he was just he had a vile attitude, all right? Love him or leave him, he had an attitude that a lot of people didn't appreciate. And when you go to his grave, people will like defecate, urinate, vomit on it, things like that, Same thing goes with your profiled serial killers that, have markers. People tend to go and either try to steal them or destroy them, things like that. So with the case of people like Mr. Jackson, they try to keep that from occurring, especially in this cemetery. Wasn't it you that said you'd never been in a high-profile cemetery? Yeah. So if you've never experienced a high-profile cemetery, or a cemetery that in your area is known for having interments of, you know, your profile leaders, it could be city, state, you know, or celebs or anything like that. If you're not familiar with those tend to have a little bit more security. And this one is probably the most well-known in the country, just for the celebrity interments. Forest Lawn is a conglomerate, meaning that it owns several properties. It has several funeral homes, not just in Glendale and in the Hollywood Hills. It goes as far as Indio, Cathedral City, Long Beach, things like that. So their cemetery systems and their funeral home systems are very vast. And because of that, they are one of the most well-known funeral establishments on the West Coast. And they do take very good care of their funeral establishments. They take amazing care of their cemeteries and funeral properties. Here at this one, well, it was at $35,000 to get, like, and I joke around and I say, yeah, if you want the plot that's next to the trash can, like, they'll start at $35,000. They're expensive. It's just like buying a house, you know, and they go up from there. Do I know the price that, you know, Mr. Jackson paid for his? He takes up a whole corner of that mausoleum. Do I know the price he paid for his? No, I don't. I won't lie and say I do. I can speculate. I could probably ask. But it doesn't do me any good to know it, so. There's also a museum at this cemetery. And as far as I know, they're still trying to resurrect that statue of David. I think that's what's going on back there. Because the statue fell. And Fluff laughed when I said, yeah, their statue of David fell like in 2020. Because even the original statue of David had creation flaws that made it weak in some areas, and the replicas of it have those same weak points. And the statue that they had in this cemetery was taken, the marble was taken from the same rock quarry that the original statue was carved from. So they tried to make it as authenticated as possible, and because of that, it had the same structural flaws. Interesting fact about this cemetery. And it still goes on and on. And thankfully, they have exit signs. Because if they didn't have exit signs, most people wouldn't know how to get out of here. And I can imagine being locked in here. I mean, it's peaceful. Like, show them the bench, the curved bench. There's benches that overlook the scenery. They're just kind of up on the side of the hills. Very, very pretty. But
Black Dragons here. Emma, Jane, and Shire had a question.
what was the question?
Shire says, Tarot is at the graveyard of the stars.
One of them. It is one of the largest ones, but because of this area, the stars are buried. Like, it kind of just depends on which ones. More of them, I can't even say the more modern ones are buried here, because there's some of the silent film stars buried here. There's also Hollywood Forever Cemetery. That is another one that has a surplus of stars buried there. But that one is much smaller. And I'm going to just make a nice, in the words of Fluff, I'm going to bang a Yui. Because this is technically the front entrance. And I'll show you, I call it the Little Disneyland, because their office space, their front way, kind of looks like something out of an old cottage or fairy tale book. Very beautiful inside as well. That's the front. And that is their huge marble sign to kind of get some directions. as many years as I've come to this cemetery, and I've been coming here for years and working with this cemetery for selling funeral property and stuff like that, I still couldn't tell you where half of everything is. I have to get a map. I have to look it up. If I need to get to a specific location, I would have to look it up. So this is when you first enter. This would be your first real bend. So you have the choice of going to the Kirk O'Heather section, which is going to be to your left. Most people want to see like the Last Supper stained glass, which is massive and it is beautiful. It is right near where Elizabeth Taylor is in the Grand Mausoleum, which is the first I'm going to show you. It's the one that everybody wants to see. So that's going to be coming up directly in front of you. And as we pass, I'm going to stop for a minute to show you where Michael is interred. The actual place. And how do I know? We just went. So right here, between these 3 stained glass windows, is where Michael actually is. So you see there's like, it's a corner system. Right here is where he's at. Okay. A lot of people confuse it with the front of the Holy Terrace, which is the section that he is interred in. It is in fact a private section. Okay. So you either have to be staff or you have to be family. So this is the Memorial Terrace entrance. That is the main terrace or the Grand Terrace. The bridge, and above the bridge is also a mausoleum. This is where the private section is. There's Jean Hersholt right there, for those who know who that is. And a lot of people think that Michael is in fact buried or interred. He's not buried, he is above ground. They think that he's like here, like, because there's the Holy Terrace entrance. They think he's next to it right here at these windows. No, he is not. If you keep walking straight through those doors, at the other end is that 3-way window system, and that's where he's at. This, the ground we're at, is where he had his funeral here. Not the one at the Staples Center, but the one for family was held right here. I'll let you take that back. Hard for me to to make a right here, we would go back towards that Freedom Mausoleum and the Court of Freedom and all that, and the museum is up this way. And they do amazing celebrations here, like they have a Dia de los Muertos one that's coming up where they'll have mariachi and they'll have people to paint you like a Catrina, or a sugar skull as some people call it. It's in the Mexican culture, it's a Catrina for a female. And they will have, like I said, the mariachi music and celebratory items that are culturally significant to the festivities. And I always joke, can you show them how close to the edge the graves get? I always joke about these graves because I'm like, did they build the gravel over them because they are so close to the edge? Because that's how many people are interred here. They try to maximize on the land as much as possible. But lots of statues, lots of very expensive statues, lots of artwork that you'll see everywhere. It's very peaceful here. It is very beautiful. Forest Lawn has more of a family feel, in my opinion, because you can actually sit and have picnics there and things like that. And when Fluff first came to California, that was the first cemetery I took him to. People like Vampira are buried there, and you know, a couple of the Ramones are buried there, and things like like that. So coming up, we are coming up on the museum. Like imagine a cemetery with an actual museum. And this is the museum. And they'll host art exhibits here and stuff like that. That's the Grand Church. But it's just really cool because they have like so much stuff here. And the really awesome cemeteries in Los Angeles. And there's some that are just beautiful, and they're not really notable cemeteries. They're just huge. You know, they're beautiful, and they have a lot of beautiful work to them. The one that Sharon Tate is buried at is beautiful. It's a Catholic cemetery, but it's absolutely stunning. These cemeteries are very massive and very beautiful. And Forest Lawn, as a conglomerate, takes very good care of their funeral grounds. And do I think it's worth what you pay to be buried here? I don't know. But I will say that when you're buried here, you're taken care of, you're respected. They always have security roaming around in the little trucks. Funeral staff is always all over the place. So nothing suspicious is gonna happen. I mean, has it happened? Probably. People have probably done some stuff here, but for as massive of the grounds as the grounds are, the fact that they have, I always see a truck driving by. Like, you can't be here and not see a truck drive by you at least half a dozen times. And they do take care of it really, really well. But this is Forest Lawn. And as you can see, people come and place all kinds of stuff all over the resting places, and people, when they have somebody buried here, they care about them. You know, they come and visit. It's a definitely a memorial park that celebrates people being here, instead of being, you know, like, you don't get that vibe of oh my god, it's a cemetery and it's scary or anything like that. You could like camp out here overnight and you'd be fine. Like, I just don't get that like scary vibe. I think that if there were spirits roaming around here, they're content being here. They're not the type of spirits that would sit here and be like pissed off and mean or anything like that. And are there stories? Yes, there are stories about Forest Lawn.
What's up, Steph?
Who? Steph
and Cass.
Oh. Fluff is holding the phone for me while I drive. Kinsey. That's a private family lesson. Fluff still has not been successful in finding Paul Walker's grave, and I promised him I'd help him find it, but he hasn't found it yet.
If you want to walk around the cemetery, it'd probably take you a couple days to find a certain grave you're looking for.
You can spend 8 to 10 hours here and not find all the graves you're looking for.
Oh yeah, easy. Be here the time they open to the time they about to close. Still,
but a lot of people really enjoy being here and seeing it and
it's peaceful.
Enjoying the space. Why wouldn't you, you know? There's a hearse, or a funeral coach as we call them.
Cass wants to go.
It's a beautiful place to go, and you know, I suggest anybody to, when in California, to take a drive through here. You know, it's very pretty. There's clearly a service happening today, so. We will depart with Forest Lawn for today. And bid it adieu. taste this. And wish everybody well. So that was our little tour of Forest Lawn, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We were going to do a live on location here. It's actually getting dark, or not dark, but getting late. And I want to say that they close at, what, 6? They close kind of early. And they do that so that they can get everybody out. So it's already like 4:13 our time. So I didn't want to rush it. But I did want to show you guys around. And that be that. So until next time, guys. Bye.